Is the cloud really going underwater? Cloud computing is constantly growing, and in today's day and age, especially with the latest with COVID, where everybody's working at home and remote working, it's blown up even more. In the last decade alone, Amazon's AWS cloud services have grown from $100 million to well over $5 billion annually. You add in Google, Microsoft, Citrix, and other names into this, and you can just see how large of a chunk this is that revenue-wise. So then the question always comes in, well, you don't want to mix computers and water, and why hasn't this been done before, and really what's going on here? And there's a lot. Microsoft actually just a couple of years ago dropped a data center underwater to test if this is even feasible. They called it Project Natick. I think I pronounced that right. And basically what they learned was they could easily deploy data centers underwater in about 90-day time, which is great. That's super fast. And it was more reliable than what they're having on land. So basically they're looking at like a 5-year turnaround window on link before any kind of maintenance whatsoever. So anybody that's in IT knows that's pretty decent, and that's usually your life of most hardware anyway. So not only was the hardware lasting longer and less failure, but it was a quicker turnaround time, and then you add in a whole other reasons why. Security reasons. You're underwater, so there's that. Cooling is a big one. It takes anybody that's run some high-end graphic computers or servers know that it takes a lot to cool those areas, and using seawater to cool your computers and your servers is a no-brainer at that point in time. So economically, it makes more sense to put it underwater as well. Where we go from here, that's still to be seen. Microsoft is evaluating what they found and to see if this is a viable future for them. I believe it is, especially when you're looking at cut costs as a business. You're always looking to cut costs. You want more profit and stuff along those lines. So if you're able to do that by dropping data centers off your coast and using tidal power, solar power, wind turbines, whatever, to generate green energy on these, as well as cool them at a fraction of the cost, it's a no-brainer. As we said before, the ocean makes up 75% of the Earth. So it's an awful lot of real estate out there that could be turned into data centers or whatever. Anybody that's ever visited a data center, it's a large complex usually. It's super secure. And so because of that security, you have to have a great barrier around it. Dropping it in the ocean makes it a little bit more manageable. The real estate becomes less. And over time that may change. But I see underwater data centers as an extremely viable future and could be one of those catalysts that helps open up the ocean for mankind. It's nice to think about underwater hotels or dive shops and dive centers and stuff along those lines underwater. But the reality is that's probably not going to be the way that we fund an underwater colony, the future of the underwater. It's going to be through business. And I believe that underwater data centers and big data, as much as they're willing to pour into it, and as fast as it's growing, that could be our future and our future way of funding our future underwater. Here at Atlantis Sea Colony, when I was designing the underwater habitats, I had data centers in mind. The designs that we work with make it easy to be used for whatever. It can be an underwater hotel. It can be your private house. It can be a data center. It can be anything you want it to be. And that's the beauty of designs we're working with and the future that we see. If this is something that interests you, definitely get a hold of us, atlantisseacolony.com, and we can talk more. As always, you can check us out at our website, all of our social medias, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and many others. All of them, just search Atlanta Sea Colony. Next week, we're going to talk about underwater hotels. What's out there? What's coming? And where are we at with all that?